So Shachar has destroyed our privacy when he replaced our firmware with the router, and they really hacked our code. So now let's talk about mobile authentication. Asaf Ashkenazi, Qualcomm. I just need to say, after the break, there will be some changes in the people in the audience. The guys who weren't registered before, I'm sorry, I'm not sure that you can enter again. So.
This is not just it, they will be punished and prosecuted. Exactly. All right, thank you for the opportunity. So first, this presentation will be a little bit different. The big different thing that you'll see, I don't have cool pictures like everybody has, because my legal department is not allowed me. So I need to draw all my pictures on my own, and I suck at it. The other thing is that we are going to focus more on the client, on the device, on the mobile device. So for those of you who don't know Qualcomm, Qualcomm is a really big company, and we are doing silicon chipsets, application processors, and modems for mobile devices. And we are actually delivering most of the software that is running on the device. If you have a device now with you, a smartphone, I'm almost sure that it's running on some of our processors or modems. So the thing that I want to talk about today is authentication, because I believe that, we believe that it's going to be a big thing. So we believe that the device that you have, the smartphone, is going to be your identity. You will do online shopping. Last year, holiday season in the United States, a lot of the shopping moved to mobile. So if you go to Amazon, more and more people are using their mobile device, their smartphone, to do online shopping. You saw the latest news that this device is going to be your credit card. You'll have all your credit cards on the device, and you will pay with it. When you go to the doctor to identify yourself, instead of having the card you're using, you'll be using your phone to identify yourself. Of course, to read your emails, to go to your social network, but also as government ID. This will be your driving license or your ID. And this is not science fiction. Actually, in Canada, they're already having a trial of using the smartphone as your driving license, which is the default ID. So this is coming. We see solutions where you connect your device to your alarm system in the house to open your house, right? To control things in your home when it's a smart home. You identify yourself using your smartphone. Your car. If you know, in the US, there are the electrical cars, the Tesla. You can open your car and start it from your smartphone. So again, not science fiction, it's already happening. And of course, to access your enterprise if you're working, and to do any financial transaction. All of this requires good authentication in the client to know that it is you. So here is an example of something. Who knows what is this? Yeah, my mother's password. No. This is a list from a password, common password. So if you go to the most common password, like 30 common passwords, this will be probably in the first thing. So this is passwords that absolutely are not secure, and it's very easy to guess them. So let's go to the next group. What is this group? Any idea? No. All of these passwords here were hacked using password crackers. This is how good the password crackers are. Look at, this is not easy passwords. All of them, this is some real data, right, were cracked using password crackers. So if these are not good, what are these? Are these good passwords? Well, exactly. These passwords are generated by a random password generator. Very secure. What's the problem? Nobody remembers. Right? And then what we have, each time that you log in, you need to go back and put all the credentials or other credentials to get your password back. So what's common in these passwords that they are all crappy passwords. And it's not the password itself. The concept of password is not working. We need to move forward. And this is why we are moving to biometric authentication. And biometric authentication can be a fingerprint, can be an iris scan that is coming to the market soon. Audio authentication, your location that can help know if you're trying to move money from your bank and you are happen to be in China but you live in Israel, it might be something wrong there. And password is another one of them. But we are trying to move more from the concept of password to a combination of biometric and environment authentication. So let's see how it works first. If you look at the protocol where you need a common protocol where you need to authenticate yourself to an online service, the first thing to be able to access it, you authenticate it to the device. So the user, if it's a fingerprint, is authenticated in the device to know that this is the user. And then after it's being done, then there is an authentication request. What available authenticators available on device, fingerprint, iris, what are the combinations, and user ID. And then in the remote server, and the device will negotiate the authentication method that to be used. Again, the device can say, I can only use this thing, and then based on the policy on the server, the server can say, hey, I don't want to use, this is not secure enough, or whatever they decide. And after this stage, you have the authentication challenge. This is a random challenge sent from the server to the device. And this challenge is signed with the results of the, together with the results of the authentication with a private key that is unique for this user. And then it's returned to the server, and in the server you have the public key, and you can verify the result. So this is how most of the protocols that are available today are working. Looking at this protocol, the protocol are actually quite good. The problem is not in the protocol. The problem can be in the server if somebody hacks the server, but can also be in a device. And since we are looking at the device, we are building the parts on the device, I will focus on the device. So after we understood the protocol, let's see what happens in the device when you try to authenticate yourself. So the first thing you have on your left, all the authenticators. They will decide whether it's you or not. So again, looking to the fingerprint, it will take your fingerprint read and will determine if it's you or not. And if there are other authenticators, it will go to authenticator process that will decide what is the likelihood that it is you. Some rate between, let's say, 0 to 100. What is the likelihood that it's you? And then it will pass it along. And then if the relying party, the server or the service can decide whether this authentication is good enough. For example, if you want to move $1 million, maybe you need to be 99%. But if you want to just buy coffee at Starbucks, then maybe it's good enough that you'll be at 80%. And of course, the last part is to make sure that nobody spoofs it. You do you sign it with a private key that is unique for you. So what can go wrong? The first thing is spoofing off the authenticators themselves. So today, I don't know if some saw what's called the gummy bear attack. You take a gummy bear, which is a candy, you put it on a fingerprint or some other place where you had a fingerprint, and then you put it on the device, the scanning, fingerprint scanning, and the fingerprint scanner believes that this is your finger. Right, so I'm not talking here about like horror movies where somebody chops your finger, of course, but it's very easy to spoof it. The same for the others. You have like facial or iris. I can take a picture from Facebook of the user, and I put it in front of the camera, and voila, it will open. The device will open, and I'll be able to authenticate and do whatever I want. So the authenticators need to have something that is called liveness detection. that you know that it's a living human being that is under or doing that. And there are very sophisticated ways to do that. So this is the first thing that can go wrong. You want to make sure that the authenticators themselves are not screwed. And then you can have a malware on your device. If any malware getting root access, you can just go, and even though that the fingerprint sensor sends a message that says, hey, this is not the user, you just change it. And it's just hacked. Yes, it's the user. It's 100% the user. So this can be attacked. The other thing that can be attacked is the signing mechanism, right? If you go directly to the signing function, you can feed it whatever you want for signing. So there are a lot of places where you can have malicious code running on your device that will change and authenticate whoever is trying to authenticate, not necessarily the legitimate user. And of course, the privacy problem. If your fingerprint, if you have a password and somebody got your password, what do? You change your password. Somebody gets your biometric. What do? Exactly. So, yeah, you can try and stamp your finger. It will be very fun. So, we want to make sure that this does not leak. The level of security, and people don't realize the risk there, the level of security that you have in your device to make sure that this is not going out should be high. And of course, authentication mechanism needs to make sure that it doesn't transmit your biometric information, just the results of the comparing and saying whether it's you or not. The other thing that can leak is the private key. If I get the private key from the device, then of course I can sign offline any result that I want and feed it to the online service. So these are the things that can go wrong on the device. And if you think about it, all these things that you can do with the device that I mentioned, money, open your house, starting your car, having your identity, there are a lot of stakes and there are a lot of value if I can steal your device and I can look like you. I hope that this is not my time. Alright. I'll try to move fast. How much I have? 1 minute. Alright, so. Alright. So this is where you need to have a multi-layer approach, where you have some of your functions running at the high-level operating system. This is what we call Android or iOS or any operating system that is running on the device. Then you have to have another layer that is more protected, that is a separated execution environment, that no matter what's running on your operating system, if it's hacked, the stuff that is in the secure execution environment is secure. And then in the core of the security, you want to have something that runs no software. It's pure hardware that is doing these functions. So if we look at the same picture again, these are the places or the parts that you will do with each one of the software. So the most secure is the blue one. You want to make sure that the authenticator is a pure hardware. And when you're storing the private key and you encrypt and decrypt it, you want to do it with a hardware crypto engine that connects to hardware keys in the device. When you're doing the authentication process and the authentication result signing, you want to make sure that it's not running as part of the operating system. Because by definition, the operating system, which is a huge code, is more vulnerable. Usually secure execution environments are only like a few hundreds of kilobytes. So they are much more secure. And then after the higher levels, where just do the common authentication for communicating to the server, which is the SSL, and the application that communicates, which is another layer of security, can be done on as part of the external layer, which is the operating system. So this is basically how we believe that authentication should be done to protect the privacy of the user and to make sure that the wonderful things, right? It's not just bad things that can go wrong. It's actually wonderful things will happen and you'll be able to use this device to do almost everything. Thank you.